Hello, I'm Roy Steinberg. I'm the producing artistic director at Cape May Stage, and I'm chatting with Jennifer Harmon, who is playing Madame Arcati in our current production of Blithe's Spirit. Jenny, you've been in Blithe's Spirit before. You did it on Broadway with Richard
Many
Chamberlain.
years ago, 1987, and I was standing by for both Judy Ivey, who was playing Ruth, and Blithe Danner, who was playing Elvira.
What's it like playing a different role?
You know, I never ever, until you asked me, I just never even pictured myself doing Madame Arcati. But the thing that's really particularly wonderful about her is she's got the most extraordinary spirit.
What's your favorite line?
My favorite line? Oh my God. Probably down with your head and up with your heart, and you're over the top in a flash and skimming down the other side like a dragonfly. This is the best dry martini I've had for years. I love that line. I loved her attitude of just down with your head, up with your heart, just keep going, no more complaining, no melancholy, we'll win through, don't be downhearted. I mean, all those wonderful, really spirit. Of course, he wrote it during the Blitze in London when people were going through incredible tragedy and loss. And here he was writing this incredible character who was so spirited and so full of life. And so I find her wonderful to take on and wonderfully eccentric.
Does it resonate for contemporary audience?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Look what our world's going through now. So I mean, to have this for an evening where you have a lot of laughter and you get to listen to the English language spoken exquisitely. I mean, I keep thinking, if I could use the English language this way. She has such humor. I mean, when she talks about arriving at the party on her bicycle, and she said, it was wonderful cycling through the woods this evening. I was deafened with bird song. And I think, of course, you think of Cape May being the home of migration of birds, and people are crazy about birds around here.
But what's it like being in Cape May?
For a beach town, it really concentrates on the arts. It felt like I was at home. It felt like I was back as a kid when you would walk home in your own neighborhood and all the houses and all the people you knew and people on the front porch talking and having dinner. That it felt, it's an incredible community. It feels very community oriented. It's a very social community in terms of people gathering and talking and eating together. But I think the theater itself adds to that artistic community.
Was there anything funny that happened in the Broadway production that you can remember with Richard Chamberlain?
Well, opening night, we opened in Baltimore before we went into New York. It's the very first scene with Ruth. He panicked and went up in his lines and tried to leave the stage to get his line from the stage manager who was stage left. Meantime, the stage manager's coming up to the French doors to try and give him his line. And Judy Ivey, without missing a beat, went over and got him and she said, "Charles, darling, Charles, come back." And she started him all over again. And he got back in it. But, you know, he came backstage mortified. And he said, "I heard the audience, and I heard a live audience." And he said, "I just panicked."
Oh, because he'd been doing television.
Because he'd been doing television, he hadn't had an audience.
Right.
And the lights, you know, the curtain went up, and there was people. And he said his first line and got a laugh, and it absolutely terrified him. But then he was fine. But that was the opening night in Baltimore, so you can imagine how he felt.
Well, you've worked with some of the greatest in the profession, Helen Hayes and
I was on tour with Helen Hayes.
the APA Phoenix with Ellis Ragg.
And Rosemary Harris.
And Rosemary Harris. How did that all happen for you?
I was very, very fortunate. I was in college at the University of Michigan, and in those days, Ellis would bring his company to an out-of-town in the fall, and he would use a lot of the young actors as journeymen or backstage, and he would also come and see our productions. And I was out of the South from New Orleans and had a very thick Southern accent, and he came to see a production of Importance of Being Earnest. And I remember I had a line of like, "Was it an honor that you'd have the opportunity of coming up to see me as often possible?" And it's British. And Alice said to me, "Wonderful performance, but you've got to do something about that accent." And he was from Memphis, so he just sounded terribly British.
That's funny.
But so after that, I came to New York, and he brought me on board.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Jennifer
you,
Harmon,
Roy.
for being with us.
It's been a great gift, a great gift.
Great gift to all of us.
You have something to be very proud of, and please come see us.